Why do I love that song so much? Like, where did you get that?
It's a secret. It's top secret. Hey, I'm going to give a slight disclaimer here because when my husband divorced us, no, just kidding. We moved back to our hometown, which is amazing. But y'all, the internet is a struggle. So we're finding that to be influencers, we need really good internet. So if you see my lips moving and nothing coming out, it's because we have, again, a breeze today, a breeze of a solid 15 to 20 miles per hour. So my internet is lagging. So we're going to have to figure something out. I can't influence and have a podcast and be a partner if my internet is going to be like this. So bear with me.
Just basically close your eyes, folks, and just listen in.
I'm just going to take myself away from the screen and leave Giovanna up because it'll be less entertaining. So we're a little bit late. It's my fault. So I'm sorry, but growing pains, right? I mean, maybe it's just because we have so many people tuning in that it cannot handle all the bandwidth.
We're breaking the internet.
Breaking the internet. So we're a little late. It's my fault. I apologize. We're going to try and get it right. But in the meantime, we're here for episode 6. And we're excited to share. We want to elaborate a little bit more on living benefits. We shared about policy reviews last week. We've touched on living benefits, a couple of times. We're both like, oh, we love living benefits. So we want to just share quickly specifics because we don't think people realize like how amazing these are. And so we're going to break them down, when you can use them, why we think they're like game changing, and maybe one of the most overlooked things right now. And then kind of share how you can look at your own policy to see if you have them, or how you can contact us and we can help you with figuring that out. So let's just really quick, if you've missed previous conversations, we're first going to say we love sharing here. These are ideas, kind of our thoughts and insights. Go, if you have an agent or a professional that you're already working with, make sure you bounce off whatever you're learning here with them. If you don't have a relationship with anyone, message one of us, whichever one you know, and we're happy to help. But make sure you just keep everything, with a grain of salt. Put it into your life, your picture, your situation. Everyone is unique. So just keep that in mind as we talk through these different concepts. But living benefits, one of my favorites, one of Giovanna's favorites, and I know have recently impacted people I know very closely. But living benefits are benefits that are part of a policy that you can use while you're alive. So yes, ding, ding, ding. Life insurance is not just for when you, when you croak. We just like to, that's the language you use. We talk about death every day. So living benefits allow you to access your coverage when you're still alive in certain scenarios. And so these will be included on policies basically as a benefit with a policy. And they're really, really awesome. There are also things called accelerated benefits, with which people often get confused with living benefits, and kind of where they differ and percentage wise, how much you can get or obtain. And so Giovanna's going to walk that out really quickly of just the difference between a living benefit that you might see on your policy or an accelerated benefit that some of you may know that you have already on the coverage that you have in place.
Right. And not all products, Kristen. That's one thing when I came here as a broker, I loved is knowing that obviously not all policies are the same. We want to be able to tailor the policy to the family that we're working with our clients, and what works best for them. And so not just like all products are the same, all carriers aren't the same. And so you, again, want to make sure with whoever you're working with, or if it's with us, that you're educated on the difference of living benefits, because I've spoken to clients and they're like, oh, Giovanna, I already have that. But as we dug deeper and did a policy review, which we did do an episode on that, on policy reviews, but making sure that you know what your policy entails, especially outside your job, because for those of you that don't have something outside your job, these are some of the things you want to look for when you do look for something that you can privately own that you're going to have with you, whether that's a term amount of time of 30 years or it's something that's permanent or whole life. And so the misconception about living benefits is that everyone that you can access the policy no matter what. And that's incorrect, because living benefits, there's certain stipulations on living benefits, and then something that Kristen mentioned, which was accelerated benefits. So if you're working, you have a policy and they tell you that you have the full living benefits. Full living benefits to me describes that a family or that individual that has the policy on themselves, right? That policy, they're going to have a beneficiary where the death benefit goes to. But living benefits allows that individual who is the insured to access from the death benefit while they're alive. And so those full living benefits would consist of what we call critical, chronic, and terminal. And so some carriers that I work with, you have the ability, if your death benefit or your policy is $100,000, if you passed away, is going to go to that beneficiary. But with some of the carriers we work with, you can access up to, there's a difference, access up to 80% or maybe it's 90% of that death benefit while you're alive. And so it's a benefit to you to know that what if you had to stop working? What if you had a health hazard that, God forbid, you had a heart attack, stroke, cancer, ALS? That is what we consider critical. So again, living benefits, a full living benefits boils down to critical, chronic, terminal. So let me kind of rewind that. Critical illness are things, again, like heart attack, stroke, cancer, maybe ALS. Then we have part of the living benefits that's chronic. Chronic, think of things like, as I explained to my clients, I mean, God forbid you had a stroke, you got in a car accident, and you made it out of that car accident, but you could not do 2 of the 6 daily living activities of life. So in our world, there's what we call ADLs, activities of daily living. So you get in a car accident and you have to learn how to walk again or talk again or feed yourself, dress yourself, bathe yourself, be able to go to the restroom on your own. If you cannot do 2
all those
of
fun
things, yeah, all the fun things that we don't want to look forward to that we won't be able to use later. But if you cannot do 2 of the 6, that is considered chronic illness. And again, you can access up to, let's say, 80% of that policy or 90%, depending on that product or that carrier. And then the third of the living benefits is terminal. It's what it sounds like, right? We become terminally ill, God forbid, we've got a life expectancy of 12 to 24 months. You can access up to 80%, or again, whatever that carrier is, of the death benefit while you're alive. And that would give you the opportunity. I mean, again, we talk sometimes, these are morbid conversations, Kristen, but it's reality. It can happen. And I know that if I became terminally ill, I would want to be able to access my policy while I was alive. Maybe I'd want to go make memories with my family. Maybe I'd want to go take care of my business prior to passing. And so full living benefits is the ability to access from the death benefit while you're alive. And so then we get to accelerated benefits. So accelerated is not the same as full living benefits. Acceleration in majority of policies just means that you can ask the carrier, the company, to accelerate some of your death benefit while you're alive if maybe you have a terminal illness. So think of it as accelerated benefits helps maybe while you're going to pass away, and some carriers allow for acceleration for chronic illness or if you end up in a nursing home. But living benefits helps you when you're fighting to live. So it's kind of like breaking it down that way.
Yeah. And I know that we talked about this yesterday too. The acceleration benefit oftentimes involves, honestly, a lot of crazy math, and you go from 100,000 in coverage down to you might get 10,000 because of all the acceleration is not as clear cut as a living benefit might be. And so where this comes into play, like Giovanna said, with all of these illnesses, a qualifying illness, and and each carrier has a list. So if that's something that you want to get specific on, we can definitely help you with that. But yes, we have our health insurance, thank God, to take care of medical bills and all of those tests and medicine. But who's going to pay the mortgage when you're driving back and forth for 8 months? Or, who's going to take care of the kids or the lunch? Like all of these things cost money. And what we don't talk about when someone goes through something like this is how they survived financially, because we know that finances can tear apart families, and medical bills definitely play into that. So they don't just help you pay for what you're getting done. They help you take care of life while you're focusing on getting better. And that is why we are so passionate about them, because a lot of people think that they're expensive policies or, it's just not something that you need. But honestly, in a lot of cases, the premium is maybe a couple dollars more than just a typical standard term. And we want you to know that those benefits are out there, because if you have access to them, if you are approved, why not get it? It would be dumb not to get it. I have a friend that I work with who was able to tap into her living benefits policy because of a diagnosis that she got, unexpected, but now she has the financial means to take care of herself and focus on getting better. And that is a big deal. That is a big deal.
Right. And I talk to a lot of younger clients too, Kristen, and some of them, the biggest thing for young people is when they hear insurance or life insurance, they're like, gosh, I don't need that. I'm young. I'm not even thinking about dying. But
right.
One thing I remember, right, I didn't think about dying when I was 22 years old. I was just thinking about living it up right at that point. But what I try to remind even younger individuals is, well, what if your paycheck stopped? Because God forbid you had a health hazard and couldn't go back to work. You would still be able, like you said, to use those funds however you needed to use it. So it doesn't have to go to, like you said, the medical bills. And then some people say, well, I have health or disability insurance. That's a different purpose than what this is for. Again, just to reiterate, it's to help you and your life for your life and your expenses during that time. And even just, my story recently, I told last week, I have a client who unfortunately was diagnosed with ALS, and he decided to access from his full living benefits, that now he can go make some memories with his family with the time that he has left. As sad as that sounds, it's what he wanted. He wanted to be able to go make memories with his family. Wow. And just to wrap up, Kristen, a reminder, life insurance isn't just about the death benefit. It's about being able to be alive, but also be covered. So if you have something outside your job, guys, take a look at it. Call the person that maybe helped you with it, or call us, and we'll help you answer those questions of, does my current policy really have the ability to access my death benefit inside my policy? Yeah. Because a quick policy review can make all the difference. And I know you mentioned terms, so I do want to just bring that up. Being a broker, Kristen, we've got a couple carriers that even on the term policies, guys, can have those full living benefits. Not all carriers on term. Typical terms are just a death benefit, but we have the blessing of having proprietary products in our arsenal of products to be able to provide somebody who loves term over maybe something that's whole life, but in that term have the full living benefits. So if your policy doesn't include living benefits, guys, you're missing out on the features that could help you while you're living. So get with your agent, get with us, and connect with us, and we will be more than happy to take a look at what you have.
And I'm just going to leave with this note, because you've said it a couple of times now, but if you have a work policy, it's great. I know we're running over on time here, but we want you to have something outside your work policy. And we've got lots of examples we could share of why that's so important. But you want a policy with living benefits, and you want to own it personally. So Message us, let us know if we can help you review what you have, and find out if you have those living benefits.
Right. Awesome.
See you guys. Happy Wednesday.